Welcome to Fairfax News and Controversia, your weekly review of key news and commentary in Fairfax. I'm Tim Hannigan, the managing editor of the Fairfax Free Citizen, our new and growing electronic newspaper in Fairfax County. I'll be the moderator of this video series, which we will publish in the Fairfax Free Citizen. We plan to have 3 segments for each of the video presentations. The first will be a brief review of the news events of the previous week. The second segment will be a brief review of the upcoming events in Fairfax County for the following week. And then the third segment will be a moderated discussion of a key Fairfax issue with an acknowledged expert on that particular topic. Now, before we jump into the news, just a word on the video's title. The term controversia requires a bit of explanation. Controversia is the Latin root word for controversy. We plan to address controversial subjects head-on and often will stake out controversial positions on different subjects. It's our view that direct discussions of controversial issues will encourage debate and dialogue that will yield the best possible resolutions. We're using the Latin word also to show our respect for classic Western tradition that was the basis for our Constitution, and which has been under attack for over 100 years in this country. Now, 225 years later, that Constitution remains not only the most effective instrument of governance that has ever been established in the world, but is also the guarantor of individual liberties for American citizens. Now on to this past week's news. The big news in Fairfax County this past week was the continued shutdown and then sudden reopening of the Claude Moore Colonial Farm, a working farm using 18th century materials, tools, and techniques located near the CIA in McLean, Virginia. The farm demonstrates how small farmers lived and survived at a time just before the American Revolution. Civic and school organizations routinely make field trips to the farm. When the federal government shut down on October 1st, police barricaded the farm's multiple entrances. Since the working farm has livestock, the police very kindly allowed one farm staff member to remain on throughout the shutdown. The rest of the farm's paid staff and the legions of volunteers who regularly support the farm were forced to vacate the premises. What's unusual about the shutdown is the farm is completely funded by private sources. Yes, the National Park Service owns the land, but no federal or any other government money goes to the farm. That has been the case since 1981, when the National Park Service turned over operation of the farm to a private organization. Nevertheless, the feds closed down the farm as soon as the shutdown started. Why, you ask? Surely the costs of barricading and patrolling the farm cost the government more money than leaving the farm open, as appears to have been the case with the World War II memorial on the Mall in Washington, D.C., President Washington's home in Mount Vernon, and the federally funded, county-operated Langley Fork Park in McLean, where the McLean youth lacrosse teams were denied access to use of the park fields. Were the Claude Moore farm closing and multiple other park closings across the area and country necessary? That's the key question. Or was the Obama administration, through the National Park Service, trying to inflict pain on the public as a tactic to get people to pressure House Republicans to pass a blank check continuing resolution, as alleged by administration critics? Amazingly enough, the Department of the Interior suddenly authorized reopening the farm on Wednesday this past week. We don't yet know for sure what caused this sudden reversal. We do know the director of the farm, Anna Eberly, showed exceptional courage and leadership in publicizing newsletters that sharply criticize the federal government's gross overreach on this matter. The Fairfax Free Citizen salutes Director Eberly for her bold and resolute actions. Local, regional, and even national media also shined a light on this travesty. The Northern Virginia Tea Party supported Director Eberly with publicity and material support. A Tea Party reminder to the police that they could be held personally responsible for trespassing on private property may have helped expedite the decision to reopen the farm. The farm lost an estimated $150,000 of revenue in missed volunteer work during the 9 days of the shutdown. The question is, will the federal government compensate the farm for those losses? We'll continue to follow this saga. Two other news items that took place this past week really dealt with the administration's mismanagement of the government shutdown. The first involved a trucker shutdown on the Beltway that took place on Friday of last week. And here the truckers were opposed to Obamacare and other big government approaches, and they made a relatively meek attempt to slow down traffic on the Beltway during the teeming rain on Friday, October 11th. Nothing too much really came of this, and we'll continue to watch if there's any further activity there. On Sunday, the Million Veterans March took place down near the World War II Memorial on the Mall, and may have even gone over to the White House and the movement of barricades there. Again, we're not quite sure the extent of that, or what the impact of that Million Vet March, or whether it will continue over the next few days. But we'll be watching that as it goes along. Clearly, there's a strong reaction on the part of some people against the government's mismanagement of this shutdown.